Welcome to another episode of Dad Up, everyone. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Excited for the guest that I have on today. He and I just recently connected, and finally, through a couple of scheduling issues that I had, not him, but I had, we finally got him on the show. My good friend Corey Holmes has joined me on Dad Up. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Brian. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Excited to dive in. I saw the title of your book, and I thought, okay, this is a dad with this kind of title. I've got to have this dude on. I'm excited to dive into a little bit about your book and why you wrote it and all that. But before we get started, I know you're in another part of the country right now, Dominican Republic, and it's very cool. For my listeners, viewers who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So, grew up in Detroit, Michigan, right? Boulder City. Um, I have lived a few places in Africa. South Africa is like my second home. I've lived there
Right.
two or three times in the last 15 years. Moved to Washington, D.C. For work because I was a public servant. And now I'm currently, as you mentioned, in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, with my wife and my son, as she continues on, uh, the U.S. mission.
Is she in the same field?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
she is. Yep,
Okay.
yes, she is.
All right. So
Yes,
it's
she
just
is.
she does a lot of traveling and stuff. So for you, are you kind of the caretaker of your son?
So the crazy thing was when we were in D.C., she traveled a lot
Okay.
because she worked a lot for the Secretary of State. And so, yes, I felt like a single dad, Brian,
Right.
right? Like she was
Right.
gone every 6 weeks for like 2, 3 weeks at a time. Here, so much, I'm probably travel more than she does here,
Oh,
just for
really?
different events. Yeah, just for different events. So, like, I was in Taipei in February, and then I go back to the States periodically to do book events and, other stuff. And so, yeah, but it's a little more calmer now, actually, now that we're overseas, which is crazy.
How old's your son again?
My son is 5,
Five.
Evan, and he'll be 6 in a couple months.
All right, so he's already got the six vibe going on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome. What a fun time as a dad to have a 6-year-old because when they're babies and they're learning things, it's cool. I've got a brand new nephew. I say brand new. He's Goodness, he's about I think he's 8 months now, but
Mm.
it's cool to watch him kind of learn different things and every day, when I get a chance to see him, it seems like he's learned something new. For a 6-year-old, I mean, they're they learn a lot and they learn a lot quick, especially watching you, Corey, watching you and your wife. And so got to be careful of that when it comes to
Absolutely.
when to when it comes to his age. So that's cool. What kind of things down, obviously, Dominican Republic, what kind of things do you guys like to do as a family down there
Yeah. Yeah.
with Evan?
Yeah, absolutely. So, love to go to the beach.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of folks probably have heard of Punta Cana, right? It's the
Uh-huh.
destination in Dominican Republic. Well, just before Punta Cana, there's a spot called La Romana. And they have a beautiful, beautiful resort, 3 PGA sanctioned golf courses. So while they're on the beach, I go golfing, right? But I'm actually teaching Evan as we speak a little bit about the game. He's kind of picked it up. We also play chess because at school he was learning how to play chess. So I'm like,
Okay.
perfect. So I got him a little chess board and we probably play maybe 3 or 4 times a week,
He's
right?
got that down, huh?
Hey, hey,
That's
hey. He
awesome.
actually just drew me a picture of a pawn. Like, Daddy,
Uh,
I drew you a picture of a chess piece. It's a pawn.
I,
Um,
and I'm sure you let him win.
he's actually beat me once. I wasn't paying attention. I was
Yeah,
doing other things,
I
right?
was gonna say, Corey,
I'm
come on,
like,
man. You can't let your kid win.
whoa,
I don't care how
yeah.
young
All
or
right,
old
no,
he
no, no,
is.
no, no,
You
no,
can't let
no,
him win.
no, no, no. This is tantrum. He's in this tantrum phase. He wants
Right,
to win, and I'm like, what do we do, Evan?
right.
We say good game. All right. You shake hands and you say good game, win, lose, right? I have to be a good sport about these things.
Well, that's cool, man. That's
Yeah,
cool. You
yeah,
guys got
yeah,
the resort going on down there. I'm sure you guys get
yeah,
a lot of tourists and stuff in that area, but
yeah,
you guys
yeah,
got the resort, and one of these days you're gonna have to get down there. And you and I'm a terrible golfer, but one of these days you're gonna have to get down there and maybe go play a little bit.
yeah, man. Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Let's talk about your book.
Yeah,
Tell us the title, the purpose behind it, and what was the drive and the passion for it.
absolutely. So the book is entitled "Golf, Cigars, and Scotch: Balancing Fatherhood, Friendship, and Fine Living."
See what I mean,
Right?
folks? See what I
And
mean?
so the book is, in a nutshell, it's based on fatherhood and friendship, right? Through the guise of what I love and what a lot of men love, right? Golf, um, cigars, and fine spirits. And my fine spirit, my acquired taste just happens to be Scotch. But it's really about camaraderie, right? Like, Brian, I've found that men look, we don't like to communicate, right? Or we communicate in different ways. We don't like to talk a lot, right? And
Right,
so we like to find spaces where we can just be and still have that camaraderie. And then,
right.
kind of once we break down some of those barriers, then we start to loosen up a little bit. But golf or just sitting in a cigar lounge where you can hear your own self think
Uh-huh.
is very therapeutic. And it also kind of brings like-minded men together.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree. But I was just going to say, when it comes to golf, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's quiet on the course, we're all concentrating on
Yep.
hitting that next ball.
Yep.
But trust me, folks, when you're on the golf course with a couple other guys and you're having a good time, there is some serious trash talking going on. Trust me. So they are
Absolutely.
not as quiet as you think they might
No,
be.
no, no, no. I mean, there's a little betting going on, and it's really just bragging
Little
rights, right?
betting, little
You
trash
know,
talk, a couple of, oh, that was a good
buying a
shot,
couple
bro.
drinks on the 19th hole, and the next Padron 1926
Right,
cigar is on
right.
you. Right, right.
That's
But
cool.
yeah.
And how's Evan doing with golf? And I know, I mean, at 6, it's kind of hard, but I mean, how's he doing? He likes it, or
His putter is pretty decent. His
yeah,
putter is pretty decent,
yeah.
right? So we stay in an area where they have like a little putting green. And so right now it's not summer yet.
Okay.
So it's kind of like I mean, winter for them is still 70, right? And so we go out there maybe once or twice a week. And he just hits putts, just hits putts.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
that's
cool. It's
awesome.
really cool.
That's
Really
awesome.
cool. It's really
Well,
cool.
so I mean, really, what was the true passion behind writing the
Yeah.
book? I mean, what was the purpose for it?
Yeah. Yeah. So there were a couple factors, right? So as I was looking to transition from public service, I thought, what do I really love to do? And it's
Hmm.
always been writing, right? Like, so in most of my jobs, I've been a writer, whether it was a speech writer, or I was a social media manager when, the government wasn't really doing that at first. Um, but also the love of my son, right? And so I'm like, okay, how can I combine the two? And then I just start writing. So the process was probably from the book was published in May of 2025. So I had it schematically in my mind around Christmas of 2024. And then just systematically every week at minimum, it was like, okay, I got to get 30 to 50 pages done minimally every week. And then certain weeks, man, I was writing chapters. And so
Hmm.
that's how we kind of ended up with 19, kind of playing on the game of golf, 18
Right.
holes. And
That's
obviously the
cool.
19th hole is
That's
when
cool.
everybody's, relaxes and say, hey, let's go get a drink, and maybe a cigar.
That's cool. And what was behind the not behind the passion, but
Yeah.
if you could kind of give us a synopsis and just a couple sentences of what the book is really about. Tell us what that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So fatherhood, right? So what fatherhood means to me, and what it means to my closest friends, right? And so then you have that second word of friendship. I was the last person, kind of in my friend group to have children. I had
Hmm.
my son in my 40s, right? And so just trying to navigate this space, as a
Yeah.
middle-aged man with a small child, while most of my friends have kids in their 20s, right?
Right.
And some of them are, grandfathers. Um, and so trying to interweave thoughts and kind of just my passion of what that book was about, right? And so when people hear the title was just about trying to capture the audience's attention.
Well, you
Truly,
captured
this
my
book,
attention,
yeah,
so
truly, this book is about what you love, right? What you're passionate about. Yes, it gives snippets of um, advice through my public sector forum, through my teachings in academia, what little I know about fatherhood and the lessons I've learned thus far in my 5.5 years of being a father. But really, it's to showcase that men, not only do we have a voice, but there's a community out here for us, right?
mm,
If we choose to use it. And so I want men to galvanize and use it across all facets, right? I want everybody under the tent and where we can just have conversations because we're often overlooked,
right,
right, as fathers, and
right,
so yeah, we have each other's back.
right.
I'm here today to tell every father, right? Like I've been there in my short amount of time, but as a man and as a middle-aged man, I know the ebbs and flows of kind of this family life and pivoting, right, from one thing to the next. And, just being present for not only your son, but your family.
Right. I think about the book. I'm like, so I'm wondering if he's giving golf tips in that book too. You're giving
Nah.
fatherhood tips. Is
Yeah,
he
yeah,
giving
yeah.
golf tips?
Most
Yeah,
golf pros, right? How many
yeah,
good tips can they really give you, right? I find Brian. I used to be on YouTube watching these golf pros give these tips. But the terrible thing about it is you still have to integrate it into your game, right?
right.
Golf is 90% mental and 10% physical, right? So you're trying to be like the person you see on the YouTube video. It'll mess you up 9 times out of 10,
Yeah,
right? You're trying to get the swing like that person. It has to be natural for you. So yours might look
yeah.
ugly as long as you get that ball to where you need to
No, mine
be,
looks ugly
right?
and the ball looks ugly when it goes. So it's a matter. I tell you what, before my son, because we were talking about before we started recording,
Mhm.
we my son said we were talking about my son getting married before we started recording, and it was a couple weeks before his big day, and he said, "Hey, Dad, I want to know if you'd like to go golfing with me. I want you and I to just go golfing together as kind of just a little fatherhood, son kind of outing
Yeah,
obviously before I get married in a couple
right,
weeks." And I
right,
said, "Oh, let's do it. Let's go golfing."
right.
And we were gonna play the whole 18 holes, but we ended up it was getting hot out and stuff. So
Yeah,
and
okay.
we ended up only playing. I think we played about 10 holes, and then we called it quits. But
Oh,
I was actually doing pretty good for somebody who, and I hadn't picked up a golf club in close to 2 years.
okay. Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm actually doing pretty good right now. Putting pretty well, driving, my drives aren't going all. I think my son, who's actually a better golfer than I am, I think he lost more golf balls than I did. I think I only lost one golf ball. I think he lost four or
Okay.
five.
All
So I
right.
did pretty well. So
Okay.
just for all my listeners that need to know out there, if you need golf tips, just come to this guy. I got you covered. You don't have to practice every day. You don't have to do that kind of stuff. You just go out there every couple years and you'll be
Right.
fine. Trust me.
Who
You
needs
can
consistency,
you can
right?
trust me. Unlike fatherhood, you need practice every day, and you get
Every
that every
day.
single day
Every
through
day.
the things that you do with your kids, and the lessons we learned as a child ourselves through our own parents, the lessons that we learn through others and watching others that have kids, and then obviously the lessons that we learn through our own mistakes being
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how quickly we learn those lessons as our children grow and get older. And I know for you and your wife with Evan, uh, you're going to, I mean, there's so many lessons that you're going to learn along the way. I mean, him just being almost 6 years old, you got a long ways to go. But
Oh,
my two boys, 27, 24, and they are two of my best friends, bro. I'm telling
yeah,
you, they're two of my best
yeah,
friends. And there's nothing in the world, obviously, we wouldn't do for our kids. Even as adult boys, there's nothing in the world I wouldn't do for my boys.
all right,
And right now, I'm just a, I'm just a, I'm just a guidance guy. Like if they come to me for advice about adulthood, something going on in their life, and it's funny when we were out golfing that one day, he said, "Hey, Dad, I'm getting married in a couple weeks. I want to know from you, give me some advice on being married, what it means to be
yeah,
married,
yeah,
give me
yeah,
some
yeah,
advice." And I said, "Listen, if you keep showing her that you love her, through dating and continuing to date her, continue to show her that you love her, and you keep your line of communication open with her. You guys are constantly communicating with each other." I said, "You're not going to have any problems at all because, we got to continue to work on our relationship with our spouses." And that's the same with our boys. I mean, I saw that question that he asked me was advice that he wanted, and he could take that advice or leave it, right? He's a
right,
he's a he's
right,
a he's a grown, excuse my language, but he's a grown ass man. He could take that advice
absolutely,
or leave it. And if he does not want to use that advice and something happens in his marriage where it starts to tank, I can say, "Hey, I tried to tell you, communication is important. Dating your wife is important, and you chose not to follow those things. These are the consequences. Now you've got to learn how to fix it. Now you've got to
yeah.
learn how to make it right." And so um, I think the same, obviously, for you with Evan, having those constant lessons that you'll learn and that he'll learn. Um, uh, as long as you continue to work on those things, your relationship is going to be phenomenal, like mine and my boys' relationship is.
I you I've never said this specifically on camera. I want to tell you two stories. So because you kind
All
of
right.
evoked something out of me.
Book number
So my
two.
father,
Thank you.
yeah,
You're welcome. You're
my
welcome.
father. So my father died of Alzheimer's. This was like in 2017. I was still living in South Africa, so it was
Oh, I'm
crazy.
sorry to hear that.
I had to fly back, that long 22-hour flight. But I was so glad that I had a chance to tell him that he saved my life. Meaning, so Brian, I was 16 years old, right? Um, Kind of a wild kid, right? Just and really just hanging out. So nothing new, nothing too nefarious, but just I just love to hang out with friends and I was driving. So so back in the day you could drive at 16. I had been driving really every day since I was 15, even on a learner's permit, right? And so I really wanted an earring, and my father was dead set against it, right? So I remember it was crazy. Every time I used to see him, I would either have a hat on, or I would try to turn to the side where he couldn't see it. Well, I got into a car accident going to like a high school. We used to call them swing outs, my
All
hangout. It
right.
was to a drive-in. And I ended up breaking my leg. I ended up breaking my femur bone.
Oh, wow.
And but listen to this. So I'm in the ambulance. I'm in the hospital. And so the doctor's like, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay." And all I told him, and I quote, "Please cover my earring up before my father sees it."
That's
And
all you cared about.
he's like, "Young man, there's a bone sticking out of your leg that you're about to go into surgery." I said, "Yeah, I hear all of that. I'm sure I'll be fine. I'm sure you're one of the best doctors in the world. But please don't let my father see my earring." Sure enough, like 2, 3 minutes after that, my father, he sees me. It's like, "What is that in your ear?" And I looked at the doctor like, "I told you." Right. And so the doctor was like, "Sir, he's going into surgery. He doesn't need to, have high anxiety before surgery." Like, "Yeah, I'll see you once you wake up."
Right. I'll see you once you wake up for
I'll
sure.
see you once you wake up. And then the second, it's not really a story, it's just the maturation process of me and my father. So obviously, my father has never met Evan, but he was a very strict man. And so the maturation process, father and son, and then I remember the first time it was kind of a man to man relationship where he was like, you're a man. As you said, I'm going to give you advice. You can take it or leave it, right? Like, kind of my parents, not my parenting job is done, but me telling you what to do, that's over. And then the last part was I'm so glad that we actually became friends, right? So,
Mm.
like you said, you're two best friends. So, before I moved to South Africa, my father lived with me for like 2 years. And so, really, how he was diagnosed was he had bought a condo. And he's like, folks are following me, man, I just don't know what's going on. I'm like, and he was just misplacing things and stuff. And so it just got to a point where, like, Dad, you can't stay here by yourself, man. I don't want someone to walk off with you, or you just walk off and I'll never be able to find you. You get hit by a car, or what have you. And so I was a very young man. I mean, prime single, Brian. I probably was 25, 26, but
Mm.
it was the best thing, because I'm thinking like he's gonna invade my space and I won't be able to have, friends and company over. Man, the nights that we would just sit up and watch movies and have popcorn or watch old sitcoms and just laugh and man, it was
I can see, I
those
can
are the
see,
memories, man.
I can
Those are the
see,
memories.
I can see it in your face. I can see you
Yeah.
getting, emotional about it. I can see you seeing that those memories are like they were just yesterday, and those moments that maybe, just an average day uh, to you guys back at the time,
Yep.
they were just another night for you guys
Right.
just hanging out. But you look back now and you go, you know what? Those were special times. And the
Man.
same thing is going to be with your son, Evan. Trust me, you're going to be like, even though he and I sit down on the floor and we play with his little cars every single day, it's
Yeah.
just another day. It's really not. It's that
Yeah.
time that you guys are bonding, that time that you
Yeah.
guys are building. I'm telling you right now, kids spell love Time. That's how they
Absolutely
that's how
showing
they
up.
spell love.
Yes.
And for
Yes.
you, spending that love, that showing that time with your kids is so important. And it may, like I said, it may seem like a simple little activity that you're doing for 20 minutes with your son, playing with his cars or whatever, drawing or playing chess or, any of those types of things. But you're going to think back and you're going to go, still remember those times, and
Yeah.
those times were special. So I mean, that's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Um, what are some daily habits, that you think that fathers can build right now to create kind of a lasting impact to their kids, on their kids?
Wow. So we just said it, right? So consistency,
Yeah,
showing up, that has to be number one.
yeah,
Consistency and showing up every week. We're going to swim. We're going to play chess.
right,
We're just going to talk, how each other's day was, right? We're going to eat together, right? We're just going to sit and relax. He might be watching one of his PBS kid shows and I'm watching the game or something. But we're
right.
just there, as you just said, we're just being there. So I would say one, consistency and showing up. Two, it's that fine balance of this is not the moment. We're not friends right now. This is father and son at 5 and 6, right? So there are some things that, you're going to whine about and that they are non-negotiable, Evan.
Hmm.
It's just what it is, right? And I'm really just trying to give you the principles so you can be an independent, um, phenomenal member of society, right?
Hmm.
Where you're selfless, you're caring, you have great morals and ethics, right? And then lastly, as you said, man, love,
Hmm.
right? I can be, it's great. I equate it to golf, right? Man, golf is such a frustrating game. And yet I want to be out there every moment of the day. Evan can be infuriating with the tantrums and the whining. And I'm like, dude, your life is great. Do you know how great your life is? Give me 2 minutes. Daddy needs 2 minutes. And then I'll just look at him like, come here, man. Give me a kiss.
Yeah.
Let's go outside. Let's do something. Come.
Yeah.
It's I can rebuke him and never have malice.
Right.
That's my
No.
man. That's my guy. So
Yeah. No, I
yeah.
love that. Listen, man, it's one of those things where you're right. There are times when we have to we can be uh cool as cats together hanging out and be buddies. I'm a firm believer. I've told people this and I've had people try to argue it with me, but I'm a
Mm,
firm believer in you can be your kid's friend. You can be your child's friend. But but there's a strong button there. They
mm,
have to understand the level of respect and where that level is, where the respect starts and where it ends. And I think that a lot that's where a lot of people disagree with me is they say you can't be friend with your kid because then they don't respect you. Well, that's my point. My point is you can be your kid's friend as long as they understand where the respect and authority lies. If my
mm.
child is misbehaving and not acting right, he has to understand that right at that moment, like you said, we are not friends. We are dad and son, and you're going to do as I say
Right.
because it's for your own good. I'm trying to
Right.
teach you a lesson here.
Absolutely.
If my child is playing in the front yard and his ball goes into the street and he goes to bolt out in the street as a car is coming, I'm going to make sure that he doesn't do that again. And I'm
Right.
going to, whether it's screaming at him to get him to stop, grabbing him to get him to stop, yes, that may seem like uh, I'm being too hard on him, but I'm in those moments, there are those certain moments where you have to be like that as a parent.
Absolutely. Yes.
But that doesn't
Yes.
mean we're not friends. That doesn't mean I don't love him any less. That doesn't mean he doesn't love me any less. That doesn't mean it's going to cause this rift or break our bond or any of those kinds of things, right?
Right.
Right. And then the consistency. Consistency is so important. Showing up, like we were talking about earlier, showing up. Parents, I hear dads talk about it all the time. You got to show up for your kid. You got to show up for your kid. You got to be there for your child. But then they don't. They're
No.
gone half the time, or they're
Yeah.
gone. They're working these 80-hour weeks because they think
Yeah.
they have
Yeah.
to. They think
Right.
they have to put all the food on the table and
Right.
clothing on the back, and
Right.
so they think they have to be gone. And guess what? Next thing you know, you're missing out on something that was pretty important, and you're never ever going to see that moment again. And so consistency is important. And unlike your golf game, like I told you earlier, folks, you can golf once every 2 years and do just fine. Like I did when I golfed my son a month or so ago. You could be just fine after 2 years of not golfing. You can't do that with your kid. No, I'm kidding. With golf, you got to be consistent. With golf, anything you want to do in life, whether you get better at it, you got to
Right.
be consistent at
Have
it.
to.
And so,
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool. I was just joking about the golf thing. I think that's cool. Well, let me ask you this, Corey, because I want to stay in touch with you, my friend. Let me ask you this. Best place for my listeners, viewers to look you up if they want to learn a little bit more about you. Are you still in the political space or did you kind of step back from that?
Yeah. Yes and no. So,
Okay. S-
I'm
s-
writing a academic book,
Okay.
TBD to come out early next year,
Okay.
through uh, Cambridge Publishing House. I kind of have to like toe that line with not being in the government, but spouse still is, right?
Right.
So it's best for just to kind of do a clean break. But
Right.
yes, I still do some things where I can overlap in the academic space. I can be reached at golf, cigars, and scotch.com. That's my website. You can get the book there. You can see other YouTube videos that I've done, the pods that
Cool.
I've done. Even have some of my golf highlights on there. So that's GOFCIGARSANDSCOTCH.com.
Awesome.
And then I'm also on all of your social media platforms at GCSHOLMES. So that's GCS Holmes.
Awesome. Well, cool. I'll make sure those are all in the show notes and all that. But Thank you again for being on, brother. Appreciate it. Appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate the. I'm looking forward to not only not only developing our friendship, but also watching your relationship with your son thrive and grow as he gets older. That's awesome.
No, absolutely, Brian. What you're doing on this platform, man, I hope you know um, the reach that you have. Um, like I said, it's therapeutic, and fathers need it, whether they know it or not, right? And this platform shows that, hey, there is a community out here for us to talk about any and everything, right? Without judgment. And so, kudos, brother. Love it. Keep
Thank you
doing
very
what you
much.
do.
Thank you very much, man. It's, listen, I started this podcast because my boys were about to kind of leave the nest. My older son was in
Yeah,
college.
yeah.
My older son was in college at the time. My younger son, obviously, who's now married, my younger son was a senior in high school and he was about to
Okay.
graduate. And I thought he's going to go off to college. And I told my wife, I felt like there was this going to be this emptiness in my heart. I felt like
Wow.
something was going to be missing because
Yeah.
all I had known for the last, their lives, for their entire lives was just being a dad. That's all I had known. I mean, obviously, I worked in corporate America and all that kind of stuff, but
Hmm.
all I really dialed in on was how to
Right.
be a great dad. And
Right.
then I felt like my dad journey was coming to an end, even though it wasn't. I felt like my
Mhm.
dad journey was coming to an end, and I'm like, what in the world am I going to do? Like, I was looking forward to being an empty nester. My wife and I were looking forward to that.
Right.
That was going to be great. But at the same time, I'm like, all I've known is coaching, coaching their sporting teams and hanging out with them. And what do I do?
Yeah.
And I had a brother-in-law. My brother-in-law said, "You need to start a podcast for dads. That's what you need to do, helping other dads. And
Man.
even if you just reach one dad out there to help him learn how to be a better dad,
Right.
you'll make a huge difference." And so that's what I've done. And here we are, going on 7 years
Wow.
doing the show.
Wow.
7 years.
And you're showing that it's not a one size fit all,
No.
right?
No, it's not a one size fit all. And I'll tell you what, I've had my boys on my show. I've had my dad on my show. I've had my wife on my show several times.
Wow.
I've
Okay.
had I've had my sister-in-law on my show. I've had moms on my show too. The gal that I was just telling you about the other day, with her with my computer messing up,
Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
her on my show. So yeah, I mean it's a dad podcast, but it's a parenting
Right.
podcast. That's
Right.
that's the premise behind it. But
Absolutely.
anyways, I digress. Thank you very much, Corey, man. I appreciate it. You and I are going to stay in touch. And listen, folks, if you want to check out his book, if you want to learn about golf, just make sure you pick up his book. If you want to learn about Scotch, make sure you pick up his book. And if you want to learn about fatherhood, definitely make sure you pick up his book. I'll make sure all the links are in the show notes below, so you can do that. His YouTube channel, his web page, is all that kind of stuff. I'll make sure all that stuff's in there. And if you are not yet subscribed to my show, how dare you? I don't know why you wouldn't be. But please make sure you subscribe to my show so you don't miss any of the awesome guests that I have on each and every week. And as always, I look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of Dad Up. Wow, another amazing episode in the books. So much was shared, and I'm truly grateful my guest was able to pour into you to help you elevate your dad game and really dad up. Make sure you bang that subscribe button so you don't miss a single episode. And while you're here, please don't forget to leave me a rating and a review. I always appreciate the feedback. And one last thing, don't forget, your role as a dad is one of the most important roles you have. So if you need a little help or have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website at daduptribe.com or at my Instagram page at daduppodcast. Until next time, everyone, dad up.